I was surprised that you went to spend time with UFO. Would you say like a bit of a handbrake turn, was it in your career, or does it come back again to melody and songwriting?
It's all rock and roll to me, Steve.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a band is a band. I've never subscribed to the genre thing. To me, if I like something, I like something. You know, I can like, you know, I can like Jane's Addiction one song, and I can like ABBA next song. You know, I don't have to be one particular thing. And UFO, I knew Paul Chapman, their guitarist at the time, from drinking with him in Cardiff, you know. And when he phoned up and said, "We're looking for a bass player," I jumped at it. And but same 3 or 4 chords, just played at a different speed with a different top line instrumentation over the top of it. Really, I didn't change the way I played bass one jot. And when the singer Phil used to come down and stay with me down here, and we'd write songs at Port Studio, have a cans of foaming special brew, you know, going, "Yeah, play some of that old punk stuff, that old punk stuff you've written," you know. So I'd fish out these songs that the Damned had turned down, or I didn't get around to presenting to them. And a lot of them were just sketches, and he'd start singing over the top, and they, you know, some of those turned into UFO songs that were recorded. No different.
Yeah.
It's all music. It's just how one person interprets it compared to somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, I like UFO, you know. I mean, I just a bit surprised because it just seemed like, you know, but you've explained it, you know, absolutely. I mean, that's what it is, you know.
Yeah, it's all rock and roll. It's all music, and that they were lovely, lovely people to work with. I immensely enjoyed every moment with, and I still go and see them when they're in town. Funny enough, we played this big rock festival a couple of years ago, Wacken in Germany, and we're on one stage at like 6, and then UFO on next stage at 6:45 next to us, one of those big stage with a curtain down the middle.
Oh yeah.
So that was fun, you know, catching up on that one. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people said, "Oh, we've gone from a punk band to a heavy metal band," but you know, sod the names of the genres. That you listen to them both. There's good stuff in both, and
I didn't mean it in an elitist way. I just you know, just like it just seemed like a bit of a handbrake term, but so you put it that way. But you also worked with another couple of disparate characters, Andrew Ridgeley and Johnny Thunders. You know, they don't come more different than that, do they?
I don't know.
Well, any thoughts on either of those kind of partnerships?
Well, Johnny, yeah, I mean, I used to go and see the Heartbreakers when they came over from New York, and got introduced to him. I love the Heartbreakers, and I love the New York Dolls, and my best friend at the time was the Pretenders guitarist James Honeyman Scott.
Oh yeah.
And we used to be the sort of
what a marvelous guitarist.
Oh, and a lovely guy. I mean, we were like the terrible twins around town around that time, 77, 78. And his manager, Dave Hill, the Pretenders manager, had a record label called Real Records. And so Steve Lillywhite was the producer, and Steve Lillywhite had produced the Hotrods, Do Anything You Want to Do. So we all knew each other, you know. And then I got roped into to work with Johnny on his solo album, which was interesting. I could spend a day telling you about that one. And Andrew Ridgeley, yeah, I mean, that was just a friend of mine called Ian Pittams, who's in a band, Cardiff band, with another friend of mine called Sarge. I forget what they were called now. Back in the late 80s, or was it late 80s? Used to play at the Poets' Corner all the time, and that, you know. Anyway, Ian worked in an advertising agency and moved up to London, and one of the other guys that worked there was session guitarist, and he said, "Oh, I'm working with Andrew Ridgeley. He's looking for a bass player for his first solo album after Wham split." So my mate said, I know a bass player, and gave him his number. We gave to one of Andrew Ridgeley's 3, count them, managers.
Wow, yeah.
And I got a phone call out the blue one day. Johnny Fowler. Hello, Paul. Johnny Fowler here. I'm one of Andrew Ridgeley's 3 managers. And he said, yeah, Andrew's listened to what you do. Can you come up and do a session? And I thought it was a mate of mine taking the mickey, you know, phoning up. And it took 3 calls before I actually kind of thought, oh, maybe this is real. And I ended up going up to Jethro Tull's place, what's it called? Maison Rouge.
Oh, yeah.
And walking in the studio, and he wasn't, Andrew wasn't there, but the studio was strewn with Def Leppard and AC/DC and Enough's Enough CDs, which is kind of slightly incongruous if you know what Wham are like.
Yeah.
So I went out and I said to the receptionist, well, wrong studio you put me. He said, no, that's his studio. You know, it's down the pub, we'll be back in a minute. And anyway, they played this song and I put bass in it. And the next thing I knew, I'm out in Japan for 2-3 weeks with him doing all this promo stuff and videos. And yeah, that was just shows how weird connections can be. You know, a mate of your works in an office, some other bloke works and does a bit of stuff with somebody or other, and Bob's your uncle.
What was he like then? Was it? I mean, was he kind of aware of the, you know, the Damned and that stuff as well? Or?
Yeah, he was aware of them. He was. How can I describe him? Aloof is the best word.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time designing hats. His hair was starting to recede, and he it does with all of us. But he was very. He was clearly very self-conscious, and most of his time was spent sketching hats, as I remember. But we had a very good time on Sony Records in Tokyo for 3 weeks. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So yeah, the album came out. I think I was on 2 tracks. Needless to say, it died a pretty early death.
It's all on the CV, though, isn't it? You know.